The master shackles are off, and I'm not talking about off Princess Zelda's wrists. I'm talking about off The Legend of Zelda as a whole. This is the best thing that could happen to the franchise, and boy oh boy is the future bright. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you're pumped for new Zelda in 3 months. 3 months. We've got a brand new Zelda Switch game in 3 months. Not a port, not a remaster, a brand new title. Don't think anybody had that on their bingo card when this year began, but here we are. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I've got two segments to this video. One, I want to talk about how this really does unshackle the franchise, and I think the future is so wide open. It's very exciting. And two, a small segment just on the people that are annoyed that Zelda, this girl, is the main character of the franchise that, is named after her. So let's do that little segment first here. So many games have turned to their, quote, secondary or periphery characters and achieved amazing results. In The Last of Us, you get to play as Joel, and then you get to play as Ellie. In Mario, you get to play as Mario, and then Luigi, and Peach, and Wario, and Yoshi, and so on and so forth. In Donkey Kong, you get to play as Diddy and Dixie. In Sonic, you get to play as Shadow and Amy and Tails and Knuckles, and it's just like about time. It's about time. It doesn't matter that Zelda is a girl, doesn't matter that Zelda is a princess, doesn't matter that Zelda is actually who the franchise is entirely about. Let's boil it down to a very simple thing. It's about time that The Legend of Zelda expanded beyond Link, the same dude doing the stories over and over and over and over again. Especially for a franchise that has, quote, different links. They should have different main characters and allow all these different universes to exist in parallel and have different playable leads. They are one of the most behind franchises in terms of Nintendo IP that have not expanded out. I think it's fantastic, and I think the best part is they didn't just make Zelda a purple character with a sword. They really divined a unique moveset, a unique set of gameplay mechanics, and a totally unique way of play. And it's not easy, it's not simplified, it's not dumbed down. It actually looks more complicated, more puzzle heavy, and potentially more difficult than past 2D Zelda games. So I give Nintendo a huge round of applause. I think it's due time they took this risk, and I think it makes sense and really lines up. Because let's talk about the Legend of Zelda franchise as a whole. This franchise is one that has really found its footing this generation. Zelda's always been important and humongous for Nintendo, but never as humongous as it is now. And that's thanks to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which really expanded Zelda into a whole new scope and a whole new audience. The games have sold more copies than any Zelda previously and really built this IP up to heights that it could not have achieved in previous generations. And look what that's yielding. Now we've got Lego Zelda, we've got freaking Zelda live action movie, and now we have a Zelda game actually featuring Princess Zelda. So don't go on and say that, oh, Nintendo's trying to make it woke, oh, they just want to put a girl on the main cover. No, this is about expanding and building the Legend of Zelda franchise in the best way possible and taking the shackles off that have limited Zelda for decades. Now, Mario is what? Mario's a platformer, Mario's a party game, Mario's a sports game, Mario can be just about anything, but that's not the case for The Legend of Zelda. Nintendo has pigeonholed Zelda into one type of game with a few, flourishes, some eccentric differences here and there, and then they have the Warriors games, which they ship off to Bandai Namco, and basically is just a skin of Zelda on a Warriors title. It is not a Zelda game that they made specifically for these characters and for this land. Now, in the past, Nintendo has really spun off and done unique things, and even most recently, they took Splatoon into the roguelite genre. They've done a lot, but The Legend of Zelda has stayed where it's at. And yes, they have expanded and tried to do, linear Zelda, and then more of an open world Zelda, but why has Zelda not gotten the treatment that other franchises have received, where they're able to expand and be other things besides their original genre? Well, you could argue that Nintendo didn't think there was enough success there, or you could say that Nintendo was just scared and too tied to tradition. Well, now that tradition has been blown wide open, and it is about time. They dipped their toes in this pool with Cadence of Hyrule years back at E3, where they said, hey, we're going to let these Crypt of the Necrodancer devs use our characters and IP and hope that it doesn't turn the world upside down. But it was a great game. It was fantastic. It was received very well. It sold quite well. And it delivered a unique, interesting experience in the Zelda universe. Now, since then, Nintendo has not strayed too far off course. They've released Tears of the Kingdom. They've put some games on Nintendo Switch Online. And that's about it for a character in a universe and a world that is so exciting, so interesting to gamers and fans, and doesn't get much play. Well, now it can. It's going to get a movie. It's going to get Lego sets. Nintendo is really trying to stretch their IP to be what they can be. And of course, Mario went first. He was always going to go first. He's like the little brother that you push down the slide to make sure it's not too long and not too tall and you're not going to actually fall off and crack your head. Yes, I'm guilty of that. I'm sorry, Jake. But now Zelda can be like Mario. I don't think they're going to go make Zelda basketball next year, but they have broken the chain that said, hey, we have to restrain ourselves when it comes to Legend of Zelda. We can't make a game where Zelda is the main character. We can't make an open world game. We can't make a different genre game. We can't make something that doesn't involve the hero of time with his sword. I don't think you're going to get the Master Sword in this game. Maybe you're going to return it to Link at the end. Maybe Link is not going to get it at all. Who knows? But this is not a Zelda game in the traditional sense, and that is awesome. Because it means that you're going to get more Zelda. It means that you're going to get a greater variety of Zelda. It opens the door for Zelda to now be just about anything. Zelda can be a linear dungeon crawler. Zelda can be an open world game. Zelda can be a physics simulator. Zelda can be 2D. It can be 3D. It can be a game led by a really melee-focused bow wielder. It can be a game led by a character who divinates items, copies them, and pastes them. It can be led by a character that takes down bosses themselves, or one that relies on minions to take them down for her. It can be a game with button mashy controls and lots of combat like Warriors. It can be a game that has far more focus and emphasis on story. It can be a multiplayer game. It can be a single-player game. And do you see what I'm saying? The Legend of Zelda has broken free. The Legend of Zelda in the Switch generation not only achieved some of its greatest individual titles and greatest individual sales, but it broke itself out of the loop that it was in. The loop that was in some ways a great loop. It delivered us countless timeless titles like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, even Skyward Sword, has been retconned to be a bit better of a game when we look backwards. But now Zelda has so much more potential. And this potential only increases once Zelda hits the big screen in movie theaters, once Zelda hits the theme parks in Orlando, Hollywood, and Japan. This is going to be now a franchise that Nintendo can iterate on, but not sacrifice quality. I'm not talking about yearly Zelda big games. I'm talking about spin-offs, offshoots, and other characters being able to hold their own. It's something that the Mario universe, the Mushroom Kingdom, has done super well, and I feel like Nintendo has been looking for a secondary franchise to carry that weight for a while. Donkey Kong sort of has seemed like it at times. Mario versus Donkey Kong in Mario plus Rabbids, hosting his own DLC pack. But then Nintendo goes and says, you know what? We're not even going to give you a new Donkey Kong game this generation. So clearly DK is not the one at this time. But Zelda can be. Quite literally, Zelda can be. Link can be. And I feel like Nintendo knows this, and I feel like they are really trying to keep the franchise intact and do it right. Some would argue that the Princess Peach game was pandering to a younger audience and trying just to get Peach out there after she became very popular with the movie. But I don't believe that's the case with The Legend of Zelda. There's no Zelda movie that Echoes of Wisdom is based on. There's no Zelda movie that the character needs to take center stage for. There's not a lot of toys out there in your Targets and Walmarts. They just wanted to make a cool Zelda game. And I think that's why it stands so far above, say, the Princess Peach reveal for me, because it's clear that they just made the best Zelda game they could make, the best 2D Zelda that they had right now, the best ideas, the ones that borrowed from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the ones that borrowed from Link's Awakening and Link to the Past, the ones that borrowed from A Link Between Worlds, and that borrowed maybe from what Nintendo has achieved with Mario. I think Echoes of Wisdom is just going to be a great Zelda game. There won't be caveats. They've clearly targeted the hardcore. This is not a game that a baby can play. You need to know what to copy, where to copy it, how to bring it with you, how to combine items, and who knows what else. Summon minions, utilize different enemies, memorize their attacks, ride the enemies, launch the enemies, trampoline your way, and shortcut your way through a world that I'm sure is full of secrets. I think Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is a line in the sand for Nintendo where they've crossed over the Zelda franchise to be more than it has been in the past. To be a franchise that can take advantage of so much for Nintendo and can allow for Nintendo to explore and expand our understanding and our exploration of Hyrule in new, fun, exciting ways that span new genres, new characters, new entries. It also means more Zelda, more often, which, can you really complain? Is that a bad thing? You'd think Nintendo would have done this with Animal Crossing. You'd think they would have done this with Donkey Kong. They sure did it with Pokemon and Mario. But Nintendo is cautious. They would rather operate with maintaining the sanctity of their IP the sacred nature of the games that have succeeded time and time again. The hero of time needs to exist for all time, but the hero of time can exist and can be bettered by having more variety, more characters, and more opportunities for the creativity of the Zelda teams at Nintendo to shine and show their stuff. I think Echoes of Wisdom is brilliant. It's my most anticipated Switch game right now, and it will be until it drops in September. Can't believe we get to play it so soon. Hope it delivers a 10 out of 10 experience, and I'm very confident that it will come at least very close. Let me know what you think about Zelda breaking its shackles and expanding to maybe Mario status eventually, someday, one day. Movies, theme parks, other genres, new characters. What will Zelda do next? Quite literally the franchise, or even more personally, the character. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. SwitchForce out.